To conduct the following market analysis, our frame of reference will revolve around the automobile industry in Europe. During these past 3 years, the demand for automobile has decreased due to high inflationary values being translated into lower consumer income. Hence, the pandemic has eased the appearance of alternative business schemes such as rentings, which are on the rise. Similarly, due to European market being an oligopoly with large barriers of entry, the appearance of new car producers is unlikely. Only firms with huge investments behind, such as Tesla, have been able to achieve certain market power. In relation to Tesla and electric vehicles, technological development has increased their availability and demand as they have become an adequate substitute for cars powered by fossil fuels.
This sector could be defined as a monopolistic competition if measuring the market share through the HHI, which provided us with a value of 1,391 over 10,000, revealing competitiveness. Nevertheless, the HHI often fails to realistically define markets due to simplicity, hence other measures must be carried out. If considered concentration ratios, one can reason that the European market is closer to an oligopoly rather than a monopolistic competition. For instance, the CR4 is equal to 61.34%, displaying a medium concentration. Porter's 5 forces are the following, and analyze a company's competitive environment. In the automobile market, which constitutes an oligopoly, it can be seen how there is little competition and customer power, contrary to large barriers of entry and supplier power. Lastly, there are almost no substitutes to vehicles for medium-long distances, only public transportation making vehicles an elastic good. In terms of profitability, the semiconductor shortage due to supply chain pressures along the Ukraine war has held back countries involved, although there is a slight recovery in the last quarter.
Pollution is a negative externality of production where common poor resources, which are non-excludable but reverse resources, like the atmosphere, are impoverished. One way of addressing this is the emission trade system, also known as tradable permits. We will consider this policy in the UK. First, a limited amount of emission of CO2 is considered. In the UK 2020, this was 105 million tons of CO2. Then this is distributed in permits given to the firms. In 2022, there were 81 million allowances issued in the UK. The permits given to a firm are their cap of pollution and they can trade them.
Considering the market for permits or the market for pollution, we have a perfectly inelastic supply line, which is the fixed amount of permits issued by the government, and a normal demand curve. The advantages of this policy are mainly 3. First, it is consistent with the liberal moral since it gives firms a choice. They can either reduce their externalities or pay the reparations buying spare permits. Secondly, it is the best cost-effective policy. It incentivizes firms that are ready to invest in sustainability to do it and then sell their spare permits, while the emerging ones can buy those permits, and overall the amount of pollution is the one estimated by the government to be the socially optimum. If a limit was simply put on each firm, it would be highly ineffective. Last but not least, it creates positive long-run incentives, because it is profitable for firms to develop economies of scale focused on sustainability. Finally, there is no government spending, and welfare loss could be zero if there is no forced reduction of the industry. That is, if the starting amount of pollution allowed is the actual amount of pollution.
Throughout the next decade, the main obstacle that stands in the way of the European auto industry sector is the achievement of sustainability. To begin with, we consider the need to safeguard supply chains for strategic and crucial raw materials. The fragility of Europe's CRM value chain has been reflected by the disruptions brought on by the pandemic. Indeed, the excessive reliance of China for essential lithium batteries is a vulnerability that may cause production shortages and future bottlenecks if coupled with high demand and slow reactions by mining companies. Likewise, it is essential to put a special focus on semiconductor design for European Union companies, not just to keep up, but to eventually establish a global market lead in the application-specific integrated circuits design and development. Finally, in the wake of the European Green Deal, a significant economic investment in green technologies will be essential to